Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles. I watched Infinity War yesterday with my son here on Anzac Day, the 25th of April in Australia. And I did write up some thoughts on the Cool Collectibles Facebook page, but thought I'd also give my thoughts on YouTube here. And I have to say, absolutely, it's straight to the top of my list of favourite MCU movies. For me, it's so much better than Justice League, and DC really need to learn some lessons from Marvel. I think Marvel just really understand their characters, and I think they've planned perfectly over the last 10 years how all the characters will interrelate, and how all the stories will culminate in this particular movie. People have said that Infinity War was not meant to be a two-part story, but for me, it's definitely a two-parter, and the way it finished pretty much left the whole cinema that I was in, and it was absolutely packed out. It left everyone wanting more, and that's the perfect sign to know that Marvel here have done an amazing job. From the very beginning, the opening sequence, the movie just grabs you by the throat and doesn't let up. I thought some reviewers early on had said that the pacing was off, but I thought the way they set the tone in the first 10 minutes, and then just kept on going through the whole movie, was perfect. I didn't think any scene was dragged out longer than needed to be, and I didn't think any scene was pointless either. There were quite a few scenes in some of the last few DC movies that I thought were really pointless and didn't really progress the story or push it to the conclusion or the plot, or further the plot in any way. But everything in Infinity War, I thought had a point, and really drove the story to the end. So the way the writers and directors at Marvel here, the Russo brothers, etc., have sort of interplayed all of the characters, because there are maybe 4 to 5 parallel stories going on at once. But how they interrelate, how they culminated in the end, and how all the various characters, upwards of 20 characters maybe, how they all had their time, and how they all interrelated to each other, was just beautifully done. Nothing felt forced, nothing felt rushed. Everything was just paced beautifully. How the characters who'd never met each other before, and how they sort of introduced themselves to each other, in some cases was absolutely hilarious. You will definitely laugh out loud. There were some sequences and some lines that were the funniest, I think, in the MCU so far. I think a lot of people thought Thor Ragnarok took things a bit too far, but I thought the humor in here was really on point, and didn't really take you out of any sort of tension in some of the scenes, but really sort of highlighted insecurities or character points and their sort of personality traits, and sort of highlighted them to perfection, I think. So I think a lot of the humor in the DC, in Justice League, for example, was overly forced, but nothing like that in Infinity War. So I'm definitely really well done there. And I think the biggest thing was, for me, also on the villain front. I think people have talked about how past villains in the MCU have been pretty lackluster, and fairly timid, and Ultron didn't really do that much for me either. But I think Thanos and his supporting group, I can't even remember what they're called, the Black Order or something. But those guys really absolutely pack a punch, and they're the real freaking deal. They are here for business, and I think without spoiling anything, they are absolutely fantastic villains. They push the Avengers and all the heroes to their limits, and each one has their own story and how they interrelate to the 5 or so parallel stories. So that was a high point for me, and I guess the final high point, I think, was how they made the emotional substance within each storyline. I think with so many parallel threads, things might get lost, but each one had its emotional thread. The substance in the scenes all had their palpable tension, where you could really tell that things mattered. Maybe they might have pushed things a bit too far in certain areas, but I thought overall the way they built up the tension, the way they culminated it, really leaves you hanging on to see part two in a year's time. For me, it was almost like the first few times I watched Empire Strikes Back, where you were still trying to process it in your mind about what the hell just happened. And I think once it releases on Blu-ray and so on, even while it's in cinemas, I think people will be going back again and again to watch it, just to digest it and see scenes over and over again to quite fathom what it is that's happened. The stakes are sky high. The build up to the intention to the climax is absolutely incredible. And I'm just dying to see what happens next. So I have to take my hat off to Marvel. They've done this for 10 years, and it's been a consistently high level of quality across all their movies. Sure, I think some are better than others. My favorites are still, the likes of Winter Soldier, even Civil War. I think was pretty good. The original Iron Man, and my low points are probably, Iron Man 3. I thought Thor: The Dark World was pretty bad. I didn't like that too much. But this really takes the level to a whole nother level, really. I loved Black Panther. I was probably one of the ones that really liked Thor Ragnarok and the humor there. And I think Marvel have taken the best of all of their movies, all of the various major heroes and their movies, and just made an incredible, support. This whole supporting cast. Everyone had their moments. Everyone had their time to shine in the movie, but no one ever overshadowed anyone. And I guess for Thanos, he's probably the first villain in the whole series where there's so much depth to that character that there are some scenes where you almost sympathize with him, but whilst he's doing really bad things, and so you can. It's a case of trying to see both sides of the story, and they tried to show you both sides of the story, and it was incredible to watch. So I can't say much more about it without revealing too much more, but I would say get out there, go to your nearest cinema, buy your ticket and watch it before someone else ruins it for you, because this is a movie where you really do want to see it for the first time. There are a number of surprises, a number of various things that will make you smile, make you laugh, and really sort of push home that emotional impact that they're going for. So I could count probably a handful of scenes that people won't be expecting, and will be a nice surprise. So definitely get out there and check this out, because it's a fantastic movie. 10 out of 10 for me. So hope you like those quick thoughts. Hopefully you can go over to the Facebook page and comment on my post there as well, or comment in the comment section below here on your thoughts on the movie. Once you do see it, I think it releases internationally tomorrow. It's the 26th today, but we were lucky enough in Australia to see it on the 25th. So hopefully you can see it soon, because it's a fantastic movie. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.